Let's now talk about the treatment of various periodontal conditions. First of all, the treatment of the gingivitis. The gingivitis is the inflammation of the gingiva, and we perform non-surgical debridement, that is scaling and root planing, as the treatment for the gingivitis. Also, we can give patient oral hygiene instructions. Or we can prescribe that patient mouthwash. In the perio questions, you may be asked about what is the initial therapy, what is the appropriate therapy, or what is the definitive therapy. These are three different things. Friends, initial therapy means when a patient comes to you, what initial treatment will you perform? In case of gingivitis, the initial therapy will be non-surgical debridement. Appropriate therapy means after the initial therapy, what other therapy will you perform? That comes in appropriate therapy. And definitive therapy means what is the last therapy that you will perform. I will explain this later on when it comes to other conditions. So basically for gingivitis, it is non-surgical debridement. In case of chronic periodontitis, always the initial phase of the therapy will consist of non-surgical debridement, oral hygiene instructions, or prescription of mouthwashes. In case patient still have deep pockets, in that case patient will go into phase 2, which will be the definitive therapy. So in case patient was having a deep pocket on the distal of 1-7, then the definitive therapy will be distal wedge, and the appropriate therapy will be phase 1 plus phase 2. In the appropriate therapy, you will write non-surgical debridement plus distal wedge. Or let's say a patient was having generalized chronic periodontitis, he comes to you. In the initial phase, you will perform non-surgical debridement, you will prescribe him mouthwash, and you will give him oral hygiene instructions. But after the non-surgical debridement, patient still has deep pockets of more than 5 mm in the posterior segment. Then you will perform open flap debridement with apical repositioning. This is the definitive therapy, and the appropriate therapy means this and this together. Let's say a patient comes to you with 3-6 having grade 2 furcation involvement, or 3-7 with grade 2 furcation involvement. In the initial phase, you will perform non-surgical debridement, but now we have to treat the furcation as well. Always remember, whenever a lower molar is involved, either 6 or 7, that has no mobility. In that case, we will perform GTR and bone graft. Guys, this is a very important thing. Always remember, in case of lower molars, if there is no mobility and furcation involvement is grade 2, then we will perform GTR and bone grafting. So in that case, phase 1 consists of non-surgical debridement, phase 2 consists of GTR and bone graft, and if they ask about appropriate, then you will write non-surgical debridement along with GTR and bone graft. Friends, next is aggressive periodontitis. In the aggressive periodontitis, we perform non-surgical debridement along with oral hygiene instructions and mouthwash. This will be the initial phase of therapy. Also, we give antimicrobials. pills like metronidazole, ciprofloxacin and doxycycline. Also, if a patient is having deep pockets, so in the initial phase we will perform non-surgical debridement, and when the patient will be cured of aggressive periodontitis, we will perform phase 2 of the surgical phase 2 of the therapy. So this will be non-surgical debridement and antimicrobials will come in phase 1. If you perform any surgery, that will be definitive therapy, and appropriate therapy means initial and definitive therapy. Then is drug induced gingival enlargement. In the drug induced gingival enlargement, in the initial phase you will always perform non-surgical debridement. But if a patient is having any aesthetic concern or he is having any functional problem, for example, let's say a patient says my gums look ugly, or I feel problem while I eat food because my gums are very large, or a patient may say I don't like my gums. These are all aesthetic and functional problems. In that case, the definitive therapy will be gingivectomy, and the appropriate therapy will be initial plus definitive, that is non-surgical debridement and gingivectomy. Then is perioabscess. Friends, in case a patient is having abscess, let's say the patient was having acute perioabscess, because the abscesses are of two types, acute and chronic. In case of acute perioabscess, you will perform drainage, incision and drainage. Also, if a patient is having systemic involvement, that patient is having fever, lymphadenopathy, or he is having cellulitis, in that case we will give antimicrobials. In case patient is having chronic apical abscess, then we will perform non-surgical debridement, and in case patient needs any surgery, that will come in the phase 2 of the treatment. So friends, I have explained you the treatments of periodontal conditions. Always take care what the examiner asks you in the question, whether he asks about initial phase, he asks about definitive phase or definitive therapy, or appropriate therapy. In most of the lesions, the initial phase is always non-surgical debridement. The definitive therapy mainly involves phase 2 or surgical phase or surgeries, and the appropriate therapy involves initial plus definitive therapy. Friends, now let's take a look on this perio chart. Let's say if a patient comes to you with a history of bleeding from his gums, the history dates back to around 5 months, he does not have any significant medical condition, and he is having this perio chart. First of all, we will have to come to the diagnosis. After that, we will talk about treatment. For the diagnosis, we will look at the probing depth, 2 to 4. So at one site it's more than 3 millimeter. Clinical attachment loss is present. When clinical attachment loss is present, this is a case of periodontitis. This, here, here and here. So basically at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, at 7 sites there is clinical attachment loss present. Total number of sites 3, 6 and 9. So basically out of 9 sites, at 7 locations clinical attachment loss is present, which is definitely more than 30%. Basically this is an example of generalized chronic periodontitis. Let's say in the additional information it was given that this chart represents full mouth. In that case the diagnosis will also be generalized chronic periodontitis. Now we know the diagnosis is generalized chronic periodontitis. Let's talk about its treatment. Let's say if in the exam the examiner asks you what is the initial treatment of this patient. The initial treatment always consists of non-surgical debridement along with oral hygiene instructions and antimicrobial mouthwash in case these are also present in the option, but the best answer is non-surgical debridement and oral hygiene instructions. If the examiner asks what should be the definitive treatment of 3-6, definitive treatment of 3-6, as we know that furcation involvement is grade 2 here and this is a lower molar. When it was lower molar and the grade 2 furcation involvement was there, then we will perform GTR plus bone grafting. In case the examiner asks what is the definitive treatment of 3-6, but in case the examiner asks what is the appropriate treatment of this patient, appropriate treatment of this patient, then we will write non-surgical debridement plus GTR plus bone grafting plus. Friends, in case sometimes in the exam the examiner gives you this is the before chart and he gives you another after chart, that is before and after chart, then from the before and after chart you will decide whether that patient needs any surgery or not, depending on that if the patient does not get all of his pockets healed, in that case you will think about which surgery that patient requires. As I have already told you, if it is more than 5 mm or less than 5 mm, you will decide whether he has to undergo open flap debridement with apical repositioning or open flap debridement alone respectively. In this case, in case you are given after chart, then you will have to decide which surgery you will perform, and in case you don't have any after chart, then you don't have to go for any surgery because you don't know how the patient will come out after having non-surgical debridement. So the definitive therapy is GTR and bone grafting when it comes to 3-6. The appropriate treatment is non-surgical debridement plus GTR plus bone grafting. But in case the examiner asks what is the appropriate treatment of this patient, in that case you will not go for any surgery just looking at this chart, because guys, after the initial phase patient might undergo some kind of resolution of his problem. Since you don't know what is the new pocket depth after the phase 1 of the treatment, so don't jump on the surgical phase just by looking at this perio chart alone. Always wait for before and after charts or for the additional information. For example, the examiner can say that patient came to the dentist 4 weeks back, but his perio condition did not change at all, although he was having good oral hygiene and he is keeping good compliance with the dentist, and this is the new chart. In this case, now we will decide whether the patient will undergo any surgery or not. Since patient is having 5 lesions, at most of the places the pocket depth is 5 mm, only at one location it is 6. So we will undergo open flap debridement alone. Open flap debridement alone. Although at one position it was more than 5, but generally the pocket depths were about 5 mm or less. So in this case the definitive therapy will be open flap debridement alone plus GTR plus bone grafting. The initial therapy will be non-surgical debridement and the appropriate therapy will be non-surgical debridement plus GTR plus bone grafting plus open flap debridement alone. Friends, now let's move on to another example. Let's say a patient comes to you with a problem of bleeding gums, and the perio chart that was given to you is this 1-4, 1-6, and 1 7. Let's say 1 5 was missing. The pocket depths are 2 to 1, 4 to 1, 3 3 7. The recession is 0 everywhere. Then is bleeding on probing. Now if the examiner asks you what is the definitive treatment of this patient, friends, always remember, if there is isolated deep pocket on the distal aspect of the last tooth, then we will perform distal wedge treatment. Distal wedge treatment. So the definitive therapy of this patient will be distal wedge. The initial treatment will be non-surgical debridement, and the appropriate treatment will be non-surgical debridement plus distal wedging. Friends, let's talk about flaps. Flaps are the treatment modalities which are used when a patient is having any kind of recession in his gums, or we can say mucogingival deformity. The first flap that we are discussing here is coronally positioned flap. Coronally positioned flap. Friends, for a dentist to perform coronally positioned flap, there are certain requirements for this flap. First is, the tooth in question should have more than or equal to 2 mm of attached gingiva. The recession should be less than 2 mm. We can perform coronally positioned flap on multiple teeth. Second is laterally positioned flap. The laterally positioned flap, it also needs at least 2 mm of attached gingiva. Generally it is performed on one tooth. The attached gingiva of 2 mm should not be present on the tooth in question, but it should be present on the adjacent teeth. Because for laterally positioned flap, we take the flap from the adjacent teeth. Generally, one tooth is treated in laterally positioned flap. Friends, when we have to check for the priority, the laterally positioned flap, it takes priority over coronally positioned flap. The third most important flap is subepithelial connective tissue graft. This is the most important because many times the question comes from this topic. Subepithelial connective tissue graft. Subepithelial connective tissue graft does not require any minimum attached gingiva because it creates attached gingiva on its own. It creates attached gingiva and it can be performed on multiple teeth. And this graft is basically recommended for canines, maxillary canines basically. So subepithelial connective tissue graft, it does not require any minimum attached gingiva because it creates attached gingiva of its own. It can be performed on multiple teeth, and if a question comes if a question in the exam it comes for canines, then subepithelial connective tissue is even better than laterally positioned flap, and I have already told you that laterally positioned flap is better than coronally positioned flap. Friends, when I talked about recession, I did not tell you about Miller's classification of the recession. Miller's classification for recession. Friends, this classification is very important because sometimes in exam, the examiner might say in the additional information that patient is having class 1 recession on tooth 1-4. Unless you know what is class 1 or class 2 or class 3 or class 4 type of recession, you cannot come to the treatment or which flap to be selected. Friends, the Miller's classification of recession is divided into 4 classes. Class 1 recession means that marginal tissue does not extend to mucogingival junction. In class 2, the marginal tissue can extend to or beyond the mucogingival junction but with no clinical attachment loss. In class 3, the marginal tissue recession can extend to or beyond the mucogingival junction but there is clinical attachment loss present. And in class 4, it is the severe type of class 3, that is severe clinical attachment loss is present. Friends, always remember the types of recession, because in exam the examiner may give you the type of recession based on the Miller's classification in the additional information. So if you don't remember it, if you don't know it, it will be difficult for you to come to a diagnosis and the treatment of the problem. Friends, let's take a look at this question. The patient complains of that her teeth are crooked and she wants to get her ortho treatment done. In additional information, it is given there is no attached gingiva present. Sometimes in additional information, they might give you a photograph in which they show you that the teeth are crooked or the teeth are not in a proper alignment, and we can see from there that there is no attached gingiva present. So in any case, whether they give you in writing that there is no attached gingiva or you may deduct it from the photograph that is given to you, they ask you about what should be the treatment. Friends, always remember that for the ortho treatment to be done, a patient must have some attached gingiva to begin with. In case patient does not have any attached gingiva, so we need some surgery where he can get new attached gingiva. And what is that surgery that we can perform is, first is free gingival graft and second is connective tissue graft. In exam, in the template we just have free gingival graft, so the answer will be free gingival graft. Friends, I have told you this thing because free gingival graft is used when a patient wants to have attached gingiva. In case there is no attached gingiva present, then free gingival graft will be present. But in case the patient was having some kind of attached gingiva present in his mouth, then coronally positioned, coronally positioned, laterally positioned or subepithelial connective tissue graft will be performed. But in case there is no attached gingiva present to begin with, then free gingival graft will be done. I hope guys you will like this video. In case you have any query, please feel free to email me. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe my channel. Bye bye.